Sel, walang ibang konsepto na mas kilala, mas sinasabi, but still, less understood, I think, no? Walang iba kung hindi yung love. When we describe it, we chase it, we suffer it. In fact, may ilan nga, they idolize it. Pero ano ba talaga yung love, no? Is it just a metaphysical force or a psychobiological compulsion? A moral choice? O baka naman love is a tragedy?
Totoo yan, Father. Actually, kung titingnan mo, may isang bagay na kung pagninilayan mo talaga, ito yung isa sa mga pinakakinatatakutang tanong na tungkol sa pagmamahal. Ano? And well, in this episode, needless to say, we're trying to go a little deeper. Of course, second episode natin, alam ko parang usapang pag-ibig, no? Pero this time, dahil Nobyembre nga, pinagdiriwang natin ng World Philosophy Month, no? Festival. We will go to reflect on love in the lens of some of the, well, should we say, popular philosophers over the time. Yun nga, may isang tanong doon na either i-trivialize mo or kinatatakutan.
Yeah, imagine kapag ano, yung mga may boyfriend, may mga girlfriend kayo, no? So, then one day, he or she prepares dinner, no? Tapos nag-date kayo, may pa-candles pa, tapos may soft music pa. And then, tinanong ka, no? Tiningnan ka sa mata, tapos ang tanong ay, do you love me? It can be a very easy question, no? Pwede mong sabihin, oo, syempre. Pero pagka tinignan mo maigi, pagka pinag-reflectan mo maigi, it's it's something grave, no? Napaka-importante nung tanong, do you love me?
That's true, and actually, I think 'no, ang nagpapahirap doon sa tanong ay hindi yung question na, "Do you love me?" Kasi it's simply answerable by yes or no. Pero yung after nun na tanong, yung follow-up question, "Why?" Bakit ako napili mo? Bakit sa dinami-rami, bakit ako? So, mas mapapaisip ka at times, and it reveals something about our character. Kasi bago ka sumagot, dapat mong tanungin, how do I know na pagmamahal ito? And paano ko ba nalaman? Paano ko ba natutunan yung pagmamahal? Symptoms ba 'to? Effect ba ito? Mabuti ba 'to? Masama ba 'to? Totoo bang may soulmates? Lahat ito subukan nating talakayin sa kuwentuhang ito, sa episode na ito.
Kaya today, tutulungan tayo ni na Plato with his master Socrates, no? Favorite na ano namin, na i-introduce namin, favorite na si Schopenhauer, si C.S. Lewis, at syempre yung OG, no, na love team ng philosophy, si Peter Abelard at si Heloise, no? Kaya wag na nating patagalin to, no? Ako po muli si Lennon.
At ako si Russell,
at ito ang Tamang Usapan.
usapang may tama.
So simulan natin, no, sa isang wild na Greek party. Merong party. Ito yung tinatawag natin the banquet, or AKA the symposium, no? Makikita natin to dun sa librong The Symposium ni Plato. It was in the year 380 BC, and ito ay naganap sa bahay ni Agathon, no? Isa siyang superstar tragedian, no? Magawa ng mga tragedies. So, script writer o writer, playwright, yeah.
Playwright.
Yeah. He was celebrating his win, so he invited people to his house, no, para mag-party, no? And there, yung mga guests niya, yung mga in-invite niya, no? So, merong isang doktor, mayroong 2 lovers, tapos may isang comedian, and then, syempre, si Socrates, no? Syempre, yung laging bida sa mga dialogues ni Plato. Na, dumating na late. Dumating na late kasi naligaw siya along the way. Kasi, nag-iisip-isip siya, naligaw siya, no? So, very, very on brand ni Socrates.
Ano ba nangyari dito sa banquet? Apparently, siyempre dahil banquet, so dahil mga lasing, may hangover sila no, from the party. So these guys decided sa kwento, why do we not chill for a little moment? Tambay muna tayo, no, kwentuhan lang tayo. Siyempre no orgy, di ba? Kasi uso din yun during the time. Yung mga Dionysian nga sila, di ba? So, kasi, well, mind you, walang masyadong pangmamata on matters like those things during the time. Kasi nga, it seems to be part of their culture. Diba? Kaya kasi Dionysius nga yung god nila ng ng celebration and wine and things. So, basically, they were wild. Na wild is an understatement. Baka sa kanila natin yung nakakuha. No? Pero instead, far from the usual thing, they decided to magkasundo. Yung sabi nila, mag-usap na lang tayo tungkol sa love, no? Let's talk about love. So yun, yung isa dun, si Aristophanes. Siya yung comedian ng grupo. Sabi niya, dun sa paglalahad na 'to ni Plato, dati raw yung mga tao daw ay parang isang malaking bola. May 4 na braso, 4 na kamay, 4 na hita at paa, at 2 mukha. No, so, 2 sets of everything else. And nagro-roll daw sila na parang acrobats. Meron silang great strength, pero yun nga, kasi nga 2 ulo, 4 ang braso, 4 ang paa. Meron silang gano'ng klase daw ng superiority, no, sabi ni Aristophanes. And dahil dun meron din silang sense ng arrogance. So, we can do anything and we can do it better than anyone, no, in the cosmos, kasi cosmological yung word yun nila. So much so that it is said that they tried, no, to ascend the mountain of the gods, Olympus. Kaya they were punished by the gods. So sabi daw ni Zeus, ganon, edi so hinati sila. So hinati daw yung human, yung tao, in half. At inutusan niya si Apollo to turn the faces around. Ano yan, meron silang peklat, parang gano'n. So, the point was, ayan 'no, yung image na yan. So, they were they were split in half. Tapos yun nga, tinahi yung kanilang tinahi daw ni Apollo yung katawan nila. Pero ano ba ang meaning nito nun?
Well, ayun nga, dahil dun sa kasalanan ng tao kasi nga parang yabang nila. Tapos nung nakita yun ni Zeus nang nahati na sila, parang si Zeus, he felt sorry, for them. And from then on, he ordered na men and women will conceive by joining our 2 halves, through through our sexual organs, no? So this myth actually also serves as a way to explain din yung na lahat kasi Greek to. So lahat ng sexual tendencies ay natural. Kasi hindi mo alam na yung other half, yun dun nanggaling to yung term na other, may my other half, no? Yung soulmate nga kasi naputol ka nga hinahanap mo yung kalahati mo.
Dito yun, kay Plato galing yun.
Kay Plato yun, no? Tsaka hindi mo raw alam kung lalaki ba yun o babae yun, no? So there are men whose half is a woman and others whose other half is a man, and there are women whose other half is a woman, no? So may ganong fluidity. Well, again, mga Greeks tong mga to, they practice pederasty, they practice pinag-usapan natin kanina, nabanggit ni Russell yung orgy sa parties, no? So, iba yung kanilang moral worldview kaysa sa atin, no? Going back doon sa nangyari dito sa myth, itong pinag-usapan natin this is the myth of the androgynous, no, na tinatawag, no? So ever since daw, yun nga, hinati ni Zeus o in order ni Zeus na hatiin yung humanity, yung man, no? So ever since that day, we've been walking the earth searching for our better or other half, no? Dito nanggaling yung expression nga na soulmate, no? Na you are longing for that other part, yung kalahati nung ikaw. Kaya nga ang laging expression natin, 'di ba? Pag nai-in love tayo, you complete me. As if kung ako lang, wala, hindi ako kumpleto, no? I cannot be if I am not with you, no? So yun yung idea ng soulmate, eh. So makikita mo ngayon dito, ano yung idea ni Plato sa love, no? That love is important because it completes you. Because your soul, your true being becomes complete kapag nahanap mo yung iyong soulmate.
Yeah, and if you try to think about it, medyo poetic din siya. Lalo sa Tagalog din, 'di ba? Kasi yung other half, 'pag tinagalog mo kasi kabiyak ng puso. Ang galing, 'di ba? Yung kabiyak ng puwet. Eh, pero what does this mean? Again, I think, we have covered this several times already sa podcast natin, na yung myth sa classical era, 'no, if we are going to consider it contextually, hindi siya hindi siya, ah, purely fictional, 'no? Myth or musos is a way of describing the phenomenon using the available words, the available understanding of people during the time. So, in some sense, yun yung maaabot ng ano, eh, ng human psyche during the time to make sense of what's going on. So, when we say that Plato, through that tragedy of Aristophanes, trying to explain as to why does it, tulad ng sinasabi ni Jose Marichan, how can one describe a crush combined with longing? How does one define a crush combined with longing? So, kasi nga, ang it's painful, eh, hindi lang siya feel good sa na ano, na phenomenon, it hurts us, 'no? Longing for someone, for something genuine, a genuine relationship. Pero yun nga, love is something innate. Well, this is Plato definitely. So, nasanay kayo
Mga
sa mga
forms.
ano na innate, oh. Yan ang, kumbaga yan ang hallmark
Trademark.
ni Plato. Yeah, yung trademark, yan. Innate kasi nga rationalism, and yeah. So it consists of desire, 'no, which becomes almost a necessity. Ito nga yung sinasabi ni Jose Marichan, the crush combined with longing to recover our old nature, 'no. The desire to recover our old nature means kasi nga nung tinakda nga daw yung cosmos, nung tinakda ang lahat sa bagay-bagay, remember, merong world of ideas si Plato dun sa kanyang epistemology, 'no, sa metaphysics niya. So itong the world of material, yung, changing world, the corruptible world, itong hindi sa atin, sa Earth, 'no. Meron siyang counterpart, and dun daw sa counterpart natin na mundo, nandun yung tunay na tayo. And for Plato, yun nga, we are trying to recollect, maalala kung sino tayo before. But not only that, in terms of relationships, we want to return to what we used to before. Kasi nga nandun nga daw tayo, yung idea, Meron tayong kahati daw talaga doon. We are incomplete beings and only love can restore us to fullness. Pero hindi nga ito yung cheesy, hegemonish na, hindi kasi kung hindi ka kung ika'y wala ano ako, mamamatay ako, 'di ba? Gano'n yung mga linyahan, eh. Even sa mga celebrities, 'di ba, na hindi ko kayang mabuhay kung wala ka, tapos nag-cheat, hanggang ngayon buhay pa rin, 'di pa rin namamatay ang mga PI. Kasi wag mo akong iwan, 'di ko kaya mabuhay na wala ka. Tapos ng babae o ng lalaki, 'di ba, ta's buhay pa rin. Kaya pero mabalik tayo doon. For Plato, only love gives meaning to our broken existences. That's deep kasi we acknowledge that there are forces bigger and greater than us. It really shapes us, it shapes our consciousness, it forms, it completes, makes or breaks our existence. So yun nga, life is nothing more than constantly looking for that missing piece. Kasi nga inalis nga, eh, 'no? Kaya nga parang, may kantang gano'n din si Gary Granada, "Kung ika'y wala." I-search mo na lang yung lyrics nun 'no, maganda yun. Napaka-poetic din nun, "Kung ika'y wala." Parang Midnight, in Paris 'no, vibes 'no. So it's a cinema in 2011. In the film which the gods have not only separated the lovers in space but also in time. Pero puwede rin siyang horror, 'no, tulad nung Lobster. Kung wala kang jowa in 45 days, gagawin kang hayop. Imaginin mo kung ano. Ito yung ano, from dito ako naa-amaze sa philosophy. From that seemingly absurd kung papakinggan mo na ngayon yung kuwento ni Aristophanes, then you try to imagine that humans were like that. So parang you can laugh at it and puwede mong i-mock na ang bobobo naman ng mga classical people. And yet here we are, continually reflecting on the same problem using our language, 'di ba? Kaya nga yung mess, hindi siya kathang-isip, hindi siya imbento, but rather it's a manner of communicating a truth using the available language and understanding of time. Kaya yun nga, yung lobster parang gano'n, kung wala kang partner gagawin kang hayop, kung aarestuhin ka, dadalhin ka sa hotel tapos, ah, kuwan ka, ooperahan ka. Futuristic naman yun. So, if you don't succeed, you will be an animal. Pero you try to look at it, yung sa lobster din, then i-compare and contrast sa akin kay Plato, gano'n din, eh. Sabi ni Lennon kanina, kung hindi, dahil nga androgynous yung understanding, yung worldview, hindi siya necessarily lalaki at babae. So gano'n din tayo sa society natin ngayon. If you try to reflect on it, hangga't hindi mo nakikita yung para sa'yo, parang kang hayop, wala kang rationality. Tapos minsan kung talagang mas lumala at lumala ka, hindi ka na makontrol ng society, so become a burden to society, 'di ba, para kang asong ulol, 'di ba? Parang parang gano'n, 'di ba? And that's basically the point din ni Plato na but why love can tragically turn other people into madness, dahil dun sa burden, sa pain of not being able to satisfy that crush that comes with the longing.
Oh, 'di ba ang dami nating mga ano, yung pagka sinasabi ninyo na ang philosophy ay walang kwenta, tingnan ang dami nating mga cultural ano, references. Yung mga movies tayo, Midnight in Paris, The Lobster, tapos may mga ano tayo, 'di ba? Musical references like yung kay Gary Granada at saka yung kay ano, yung kay Jose Marichan. Pero ano pre, seeing this, ano, ang deeper question I think is, teka, is a partner really the one that completes us? Yung ba talaga, yung tao na yun ang nagkukumpleto sa atin? Isa lang talaga? Pwede bang dalawa? Pwede bang tatlo? Kasi may mga ganun, di ba? May nagsasabi, hindi kasi pareho ko silang mahal. Hindi ko pwedeng ano, iwanan ng isa sa kanila. No? Is it necessary? Ito pa. Necessary ba talaga yung magkaroon ka ng soulmate na matagpuan mo yon to feel fulfilled in life? O baka naman that it is just a myth na kino-consider natin. Kasi maganda siya, no? Disney-esque, something that gives us joy kasi ang sarap niyang paniwalaan.
Dito tayo ngayon papasok sa hierarchy of love ni Plato. Yan yung Diotimas ladder. Done. So, let's start. Before that, maganda yung tanong na yun. Kasi why? Ang mga follow-up questions kasi doon, paano kung patay na yung para sa'yo? 'Di ba?
Paano kung nasa ibang bansa pala, hindi mo
Paano kung nasa ibang
makikilala?
bansa? Tsaka well, applying it to our modern sensibilities, it opens a lot of problems. Kasi tulad niyan, may magtatanong, tago natin sa mga sa mga vloggers o artista. Paano kung bata?
Hmm,
'Di ba? Di problematic na. Again, babalik tayo sa worldview nila kasi nga yung worldview nila wala namang krimen, 'no, doon sa, ah, having attraction to the same sex, having attraction to a younger person, especially minors. Grabe, napaka-rampant nun sa society nila, eh. So, kaya nga, we have to put things into context. Otherwise baka makasuhan yung tamang usapan ng pagpo-promote pagpo-promote
corrupting
ng
the
mga
minds of the youth.
yeah, exactly, yeah. Yeah, so, kailangan ko iklaro yun. So balik tayo, now with Socrates, sabi niya, "Guys, hindi lang akin 'tong idea na 'to." So meron siyang mentor daw, si Diotima, 'no, a wise woman philosopher. So even before Hypatia of, Alexandria, I think?
Alexandria?
Yeah, before Hypatia, there's someone, 'no, na nauna pa, 'no, si Diotima, 'no, a wise woman philosopher. Sa symposium 'to ni Plato, ah. So through Socrates, recounting Diotima, sinasabi nga doon na Eros is neither a god nor immortal. Eros is a daemon, that daimon, no? Intermediary, demiurge, no? It's a perpetual lack seeking fulfillment. Meaning love begins in deficiency. You love because something is missing. Ganun tayo. Ganun tayo. Our first instance of love, no? Our first encounter of love is our very acknowledgement of something lacking in us. Kaya tayo, we grew to love somebody or to be attracted to somebody because we acknowledge that something is out there na wala tayo. So yun, that's Eros, no, for Socrates.
Exactly, no? According nga dito kay Diotima, ang ganda ng pangalan niya, kung tituusin mo, kasi galing sa Greek, and Latin. Dio, Deo, God. Tima is fear, no? To fear God. Anyways, ano lang yun? Excursus lang yun. Pero according to Diotima, ayon kay Socrates, kasi siya yung nagkukwento dito. Ano to ni Socrates? Ito yung reply niya doon sa kwento ni Aristophanes, doon sa banquet, no? Itong Androgynous. Ito yung reply ni Socrates, no? Ang tinuro sa akin ni Diotima ito. Sabi niya, hindi raw soulmate ang dahilan ng attraction, no? So hindi ka na-attract doon sa tao dahil siya yung soulmate mo. Rather, it's the good that is in him or in her, no? When you love someone, you are drawn to the beauty and goodness in them. And Plato says na Eros isn't primarily about two individuals, no? Hindi siya dahil sa ako at ikaw, no? Hindi yan siya dahil specifically dahil dun sa partner mo, dun sa iyong soulmate, no? Rather, ang ultimate, no, kung pinakamalalim na dahilan nitong Eros is the desire of immortality, no? Immortality in what sense? We can say na, for example, well, when you ito ano na 'to, interpretation na 'to. When you meet someone you love, you procreate, in a way your offspring is a way for you to immortalize yourself, no? Na hindi ka malilimutan. But also, you love because your soul wants permanence, no? Kasi nga again, nakukomplete yung tunay na ikaw by meeting this person, not because of him or her, but rather because of the good and the beauty that is in him or her, that will complete your soul, no? And this thing, the body cannot give it, no? So makikita natin ngayon na itong attraction sinasabi ni Plato, it goes beyond just mere infatuation na, ay, siya yung magko-complete sa akin kasi maganda siya. No? Magsisimula doon, pero anuhin mo yun, lalagpasan mo yun, no? Kaya nga, heto yung yung hagdan, di ba?
Isa rin sa nakaka-fascinate dito, tulad dito sa Diotimas ladder ang tawag diyan pare, eh. Para lumalim ang para lumalim ang iyong pagmamahal kailangan mong umahon. Kasi usually 'di ba kung gusto mo lumalim sumisit ka, eh. Pero that's also the thing in philosophy. The deepening is not always, perceived na parang kailangan mong lunurin sarili mo pailim to the point na hindi ka makahinga 'no. So tulad niya kay Diotima, it's
Actually
a
may
ladder.
yan pre sa Latin, 'di ba yung Duc in altum, anong
Yeah,
translation nun sa sa English?
go
Go
into the
into the
deep,
deep, 'di ba? Pero yung altum ay yun din yung word
go
sa
into the
higher, sa
heights.
highest.
Yeah, yeah,
Oo, 'di
yeah.
ba?
So so lumalim ka pero pataas. 'Di ba? So,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
the play of words. So, first level is attraction to the body, to a beautiful body rather. So, nakita mo, mas maputi sa'yo. So, parang, okey, okey na 'to dahil tisay. So, ibig sabihin hindi magiging maitim ang mga anak ko. So, gano'n. So, kasi gano'n usually nga o kumbaga sa lahat ng mga, nasa surroundings mo, siya lang yung nakapukaw ng attention mo. So, it's an attraction to a beautiful body. Then level two, the next step dun sa ladder ni Diotima is an attraction to all beautiful bodies. Upon realizing, tulad dun sa The Little Prince, if you remember, 'di ba? Yung exchange ng thoughts ni Little Prince at saka nung Fox 'no. Kaya sabi niya, "It's only the heart that sees rightly," sabi nung Fox. "What is essential is invisible to the eye." Kasi the Little Prince wept. Kasi nga 'di ba kung nabasa niyo yung The Little Prince meron siyang rose na inaalagaan na yun ang buhay niya. Doon he even put a parang kalandra ba yun, yung he nurtured it, he took care of it, ah he protected it na hindi masira yung petals niya, so gano'n. Then the Little Prince, doon sa sariling planeta nung Little Prince 'no, he had his rose. Then upon coming to the earth, he saw a vast multitude of roses, 'di ba? Each beautiful as the next one, 'di ba? Parang sobrang daming beautiful roses. And in a way parang, if I remembered it correctly, he fell into despair na, ang dami palang magaganda. And nandun ako, only taking care of my rose, no? It's only with the heart that that one can see rightly. What is essential is invisible to the eye. So it's an attraction to all beautiful bodies. Upon realizing na there are others who might look better, no, or more attractive in a sense, you get to realize, teka mas importante pala yung soul. Kaysa sa puwet o sa boobs o kung saan ka man hahatak, sa mukha ba yan o sa you realize beauty is not monopolized by your crush. And you acknowledge it, you have to. Otherwise, it will not end so well for you. And I am telling this as whether you are, lalaki ka o babae ka na may attraction, then yun na. The level three, the next level or the next step dun sa ladder is the love 'no, the attraction to beautiful souls. So meron kang paghanga na ethical, ibig sabihin, okey 'to kasi shared kami ng values. Okey 'to kasi she or he knows what he wants, hindi niya ako gagawing counselor 'no, so yung 'di ba? Kaya yun, may sarili siyang utak 'no, so hindi lang siya puro papogi lang o paganda lang, may paninindigan siya. So alam niya kung saan siya natindig 'no, so yan, may gano'n ka ng level 'no, so it's a love to beautiful souls. Kasi kung puro ganda lang, walang walang lalim, walang bitaw, eventually you'll realize na, "Teka, I'm wasting my time, 'no, I'm wasting my life, wasting my emotions to this kind of person." Tapos yun na, mind you, eros here is attraction, basically it's an attraction. Pero it goes deeper, 'no, it intensifies as long as you are in the process, 'no. So, the next step mula sa magandang mukha tapos na-realize mo magandang kalooban, then after ng magandang kalooban, magandang pagkatao o prinsipyo, ba? Ngayon yung kabutihang asal naman, yung level 4, 'di ba, yung beautiful laws and institutions. Everything makes sense now na you understand how institutions work. Kaya gano'n pala ang government, kaya pala may taxation, kaya pala may simbahan. Then you well, napaka-ideal ng pagkakasabi ko yun. Pero nung lumalaki ka, nung bata ka hindi mo naintindihan, lumaki-laki ka ng konti, may anak ka na rin, okey. Kaya pala kaya pala dinadala ako ng lola o ng nanay ko sa simbahan. Ngayon gagawin ko rin sa anak ko yun, parang gano'n, 'no. So, you develop a love for the institutions, for the country. So, for a country, for your faith. So, meron ka ng appreciation ng moral order. Kaya ngayon, kapag nakakakita ka ng disruptive behavior o kaya halimbawa alam mong dati okey siya, ngayon nukno ka na ng sinungaling tapos parang wala ng prinsipyo tapos halimbawa hindi ko alam, halimbawa sa humba makikipag-away sa kapwa-tao dahil sa humba, halimbawa gano'n, 'di ba? Halimbawa lang, hindi ko alam kung may gano'n ba sa totoong buhay, pero pagpalagay lang natin, medyo ano na, magpapantig na yung tenga mo, ta's maaamoy mo na na bullshit ang sinasabi nitong tao. So yun, kasi may alam ka na, aware ka na sa laws, 'no, aware ka sa moral order, social order. The fifth ladder is the love of knowledge. You just love to know. You love to know because you need to know. Dahil kung hindi ko 'to alam, hindi ko malalaman kung paano iva-value 'to, kung ito ba ay worth of my love, of my attraction o hindi. Then, the ultimate or the last level ng Diotima ladder is the form of beauty. Again, the world of forms, 'no? Form is out there until we go back to the world of ideas o yung world of forms ni Plato. Parang yun nga, hindi natin maintindihan yun fully. Pero for Diotima, yun nga, if you get to contemplate constantly on the truth, on the beautiful, on love, no, you will go there, no, to that perfect contemplation of the true beauty, where there is no more decay, hindi kukulubot ang balat, hindi inaagnas, where there is no corruption, 'no? Na kung alam mo ang truth dito na madaling mabali, 'no? Doon walang corruption, walang change, mutable. And walang heartbreak, walang pain, wala yung painful longing dun sa iyong so imagine, during this time, as early as this time, man has already been fixated in piercing through the reality of love, 'no? Na gusto nilang tumbukin, ano ba talaga itong nararamdaman ko and bakit kailangan ko 'tong maramdaman? And here we have, uh, Plato, 'no, offering this. And what what becomes, what makes this notion very, uh, powerful and at the same time, bakit hanggang ngayon celebrated pa rin natin? Thanks to the Catholic Church. Why? Because without Augustine of Hippo, for example, without John Duns Scotus, no, these figures, hindi natin hindi ito mai-introduce na ganito ka-rich sa civilization. It's because of Christianity, the revolution of love, 'no? This is also very Augustinian. Kasi in a way, crinestianize ni Augustine yung Platonic philosophy. kung mapapansin mo ito rin yung process by which if we are going to reflect on love in an Augustinian lens, ganito rin yung manner. Oh, sure sige, una we please our senses 'no, so yun yung una, na parang okey maganda yan. Then kapag medyo sabi mo sa sarili mo nag-mature ka so parang jeje mo rin tingin mo, ang baba ng tingin mo sa mga naa-attract lang sa mukha o kaya sa panlabas na hindi
Elitista.
sapiosexual na. Oo, sapiosexual na ako ngayon. Akala mo naman kinaganda o kinapogi mo yun, 'di ba? Pero ano, pero kinapangit na ugali mo, pero okey na kasi in love ka ngayon sa wisdom, 'di ba? Kahit doon sinasabi ni Augustine, "No, it's still imperfect, ma-in-love ka lang sa knowledge. Ang dulo ng lahat ito ad deum, papunta ka doon sa source ng lahat ng ito, the one, the true, the beautiful, the good, the only good, 'no, which is God." 'Di ba napaka-revolutionary. Now, imagine ninyo, eh, 'di nagde-date kayo ngayon, mga siguro third date niyo na, ta's i-open up mo na 'to yung Diotemas ladder na actually nasa level 3 na ako. Naka-move on na ako sa puwet mo, eh. So, medyo, gusto kong makita yung soul mo, gano'n, subukan niyo lang 'no, nang hindi kayo nasasampal. Pero yeah, that's a classical philosophy for you, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, makita rin natin diyan, gawin natin mas modern. So, andiyan na si Augustine, 'no? Pero pagka nilagay mo modern theology, si Von Balthasar, yun yung sabi niya na ang unang nag-a-attract sa atin sa religion ay hindi talaga yung dogma, hindi yung doctrines. Hindi nga rin yung morals. Rather, yung aesthetics, yung beauty, yung liturgy. 'No? Kaya kung pangit yung liturgy mo, wala ka talagang maa-attract, walang mapupunta dun sa mas malalim. Pero nagsisimula sa magandang liturgy. Kaya nga, lex orandi, lex credendi, 'di ba? So, the law of prayer is the law of belief. Kasi magsisimula dun sa aesthetics, sa nakikita. So, liturgical, lalalim, magiging moral. Kay Von Balthasar 'to, And then later on, yung pinakamalalim ay yung doctrinal, yung dogmatic, yung truth. So simula ka sa aesthetics, pupunta ka sa moral, sa ethical, ang last mo ay truth, no? So kung ang aanhin natin spirituality, that is Jesus, life, way, truth, no? So parang ganun yung ano. Anyways, excursus yun, no? Pero ang mapapansin natin dito sa ladder ni Diotima, which I think and I can argue na karamihan sa atin gets to na una mong ano talaga, magkaka-crush ka sa isang tao kasi maganda siya, o pogi siya, o matalino siya, o may something na quality niya na gusto mo, 'no? Physical kadalasan. And
Yeah,
then
kailangan
later
may
on, 'pag
pupukaw
mas
sa'yo, eh.
nakilala mo, may pumukaw sa'yo, hindi mo puwedeng, gusto ko
Hindi
'tong
puwede
tao
yun
'to
na
ng
mahal mo
wala
na
kang
agad,
dahilan.
oo. Yeah,
Oo,
yeah.
na mahal mo na agad. So nagsisimula yun sa attraction, pero lumalalim. Kasi once na makilala mo yung tao, lumalalim na lumalalim. May mga magbe-break. Kasi bakit? Halimbawa, matuklasan mo, okay, maganda nga, pero anga-anga naman. So parang, ay, ayoko. O kaya, malaman mo na supporter pala siya um, ng mga fascists, no? Ng mga tyrannical dictator. So parang ano ka, ay, wala kang sense ng justice, ng truth, ng ng morality. Oh, maganda ka lang. 'Di ba? May ganung So totoo 'to na habang lumalalim, mas natutuklasan natin yung mas malalim na ibig sabihin ng pag-ibig, no? Kaya nga rin dumating dun sa institutionality, yung mga institutions ng gobyerno, kasi si Plato hindi siya hindi siya concerned lang dun sa magjowa, no? For Plato, love is an ontological movement. It's an ontological movement. It's a movement from the sensible, yung nakikita, yung nararamdaman, yung nahahawakan, to the intelligible, no? Yung rational. Kasi nga para kay Plato, yung rational, yung mas totoo. Yun yung forms, no? Yung ideas, yun yung mas totoo. From the fleeting, yung yung mamamatay, yung nagbabago, to the eternal, no? So you love first, you begin by being attracted to someone beautiful. But that beauty, physical beauty, ay fleeting yun, ephemeral yun. Pag tumanda yun, in 10 years, in 20 years, magbabago yung itsura nun. 'Pag namatay yun, wala na rin, 'di ba? So, it's fleeting. Pero magsisimula ka sa pagiging attracted doon sa kanyang physical beauty, hanggang maging attracted ka sa metaphysical beauty niya. Something that will never, change 'no, will never decay nga, eh. Kaya nga yung platonic thought, romantic love is not the end point. Hindi ito yung, be all and end all. It is merely a spark for you to go towards that higher form of love 'no, na in Christian thought, by Augustine's hand, we confirm to be God himself 'no. God is love, Deus caritas est 'no. So, kaya nga rin sa sa marriage 'no, sa matrimony, eto I'm speaking as a priest. Being married to someone, hindi yan ibig sabihin na lesser kayo sa aming mga pare, no. Actually, it's a very beautiful vocation, eh. Why? Because diyan nagsisimula. By being married to someone, kaya lagi namin nire-remind kayo na hindi kayo dalawa sa relationship, dapat tatlo kayo kasama ang Diyos. Bakit? Kasi hindi ninyo trabaho lang yang dalawa. Dapat lumalim yan. Kasi kung trabaho nyo lang yan dalawa, fleeting yun. Pareho kayong mamamatay eh. Pareho kayong magbabago. Yung emotions niyo magbabago. May mga away na darating. May pwede kang ma-attract sa iba physically. Kung wala yung Diyos dun sa equation, wala kayong foundation para lumalim, para umakyat dun sa ladder, at the same time lumalim dun sa pag-ibig para matagpuan ninyong eternal beauty that is God, no? Dito pumapasok ngayon yung tinatawag nating platonic love na, well, commonly tinatawag nating parang impossible love kasi parang platonic love is the ideal love, no? Mind you, it does not mean na love without sexual intercourse. Kasi yan minsan ang natin, platonic lang kami. So wala kaming sexual intercourse. No, hindi lang. It's not just love without, of course, yes. No, it can be love without sex. May ganung, well, may mga ganung figure sa history. Ewan ko si Russell mag-a-agree, pero sabi nung iba, between Francis of Assisi and Clare of Assisi, it's platonic love, no?
Yeah.
'Di ba? So, o pwede rin naman na sa sarili mong experience o sa sarili kong experience, meron din tayong mga platonic love sa mga tao, no? So, pwede naman talaga na without sex. Pero, platonic love can also be possible within matrimony. Di porket mag-asawa kayo, eh imposible na sa inyo yung platonic love, no? Na hanggang erotic lang kayo. Erotic encounter lang kayo. No, no, no. You can go deep, no? Kasi nga, love transcends the physical. Remember, that is very, very platonic. Yan ang idea ng platonic love eh. That love transcends the physical. The soul loving what is eternally good, not just what is temporarily sexy.
Yeah, that's that's true. Kaya pala kaya pala sabi nila, platonic love is impossible or unreachable. Unlike some of us na nagiging misnomer yung platonic love, eh, kasi parang sa'tin kung hindi mo ma-sum 'no, let's
Unrequited
say
love.
yeah, that's the point 'no, na parang, sige na lang ako, boy best friend na lang ako. And some of you might be laughing while you listen to this episode kasi gano'n yung dating sa atin, hindi, platonic lang kasi wala kaming sexual attraction sa isa't isa. But no, ang notion ng platonic love, platonic na talagang kay Plato, hindi lang puwedeng mabait, hindi lang puwedeng matalino. Dapat yung hinahabol mo 'no, na attribute o quality ng, taong yon, is it right to say na minamahal mo kung platonic lang? Yung taong kaibigan mo 'no ay, hinahatid ka niya doon sa eternal form ng goodness.
Di
It
ba?
sounds absurd 'no, but in our language today, hindi lang dapat mabait or maganda, but rather yung taong yun, he or she brings out the best in you, makes you want to become better, to the point that you contemplate na even the best of you right now is not the perfect best of you. Something better, something out there 'no. still awaits you, that greatness that awaits you there, no? So yun, that's platonic love. So, if you don't feel that yet with somebody, don't make platonic love as an excuse, no? Para lang sabihin, "Ay, hindi kasi ako makaisa, eh, platonic na lang kami." Hindi gano'n 'yun, mga gago kayo. Ganyan. So 'pag tinanong ka tapos platonic love yung sa nararamdaman mo for this person, "Do you love me?" Eh, ang sagot dun o kaya, if you say yes, "Yes, but platonic yung pagmamahal ko sa'yo." Eh, why? Well, kasi because I would like to contemplate the perfect form of the good with you, 'di ba? Kahit asawa mo magseselos siguro. Pero yun yung notion ni Plato, yeah. If you're telling me, were they obsessed, were they fixated on this notion? Fixation is an understatement. Yeah, because for these people, that's the object of their contemplation. Because for them, love is a higher order of virtue. It's a higher order of being a human. No? Kasi they believe that love has some remnants of the divine in it that makes it not so much a human thing. So if you attempt to love, you are attempting to share into the life of the divine, 'di ba? So, kaya yung mga sinasabi natin, "I love you," ay ano yun, may bigat yan. Hindi lang yan pang fill in sa good morning, kumain ka na, good night, tulog na tayo. Hindi, it's an expression of your character, it's a way of life. And even in the classical times, they understood it that way. Yun, black ka na nun. Oh, yun. So, that's Plato. Ngayon, sige, ikaw naman, Father Lennon, we go to modern.
Oo,
Modern
modern
philosophy
'to,
pa rin,
oo,
'no?
yeah. After na 'to ni ano, ni Descartes, eh.
Hindi, before teacher ni Nietzsche 'to, 'di ba?
Naging teacher ba 'to ni Nietzsche?
Ay, tama ba?
Alam ko estudyante
Well,
siya ni Fichte.
hindi ko na maalala.
Anyways,
Pero, well, ang pinag-uusapan namin ni Lennon ay yung timeline kasi nga, yung modern hindi siya yung modern philosophy hindi siya yung modern na
hindi siya
parang
contemporary.
may
Oo.
oo, may mga robots and, hindi gano'n 'no. Modern era is the period after, the medieval period, and medieval, it was only called medieval kasi it's the period between the classical and the modern. Modern here is the reverse, kaya nga Renaissance siya, it's the rediscovery of the classical thought. So kaya gano'n, medyo talagang minasama nila yung medieval kaya medyo kung sa lens ng philosophy, medyo kontrabida yung medieval philosophy, medyo
Yeah.
underappreciated 'no. So yun, modern philosophy, mga 1700s to 1800s, yeah. Now, we are going to discuss with you, ano nga naman yung philosophy of love ng isang notorious na philosopher in the person of Arthur Schopenhauer. Well, kung meron kayong quick na, time for you to look him up sa Facebook niya, pessimist philosopher ito, si Schopenhauer. Kaya medyo minsan makikita sa mga philosophy memes, ginagawa siyang icon ng pessimism. So, ah, sige nun, ikaw na kay Schopenhauer, magpasimula.
Mga 1700s nga, 1788, namatay ito 1860. Ito na siguro yung pinaka-notorious nga, tama yung sabi mo, Russell, pinaka-interesting in that sense. Kasi he was one of the most grumpy, very negative philosopher who ever lived. So, he almost always expressed his opinions most of the time in a rude, selfish, napakamayabang na way, no? Kaya medyo may ganun na siyang notoriety, no? He began studying medicine actually. Pero second year niya sa med school, no? He realized na teka, gusto ko mag-philosophy. Bakit? Kasi sabi niya, life is the worst of all problems, no? So dapat doon ko i-dedicate yung ano ko, yung energy ko, yung aking talent, yung aking knowledge, no? Philosophy. And his pride and his bad mood were enormous to say the least, no? Actually, yun sa kwento kasi naging teacher niya, no? Sa philosophy class niya, si Fichte, no? One of the most famous and greatest philosophers of that time, no? So,
Yeah,
imagine this.
post-Kantian yun eh, si Fichte.
Post-Kantian, si Fichte. Imagine this, kung ari
Neo-Kantian pala.
maging teacher natin halimbawa namin ni Russell sino bubuhay pa, si Noam Chomsky o si Byung-Chul Han, yun. So maging teacher namin siya, nandun kami sa classroom niya. So it's 'di ba, parang it's something to be proud of, no? Ay, teacher ako na philosopher. Imagine this, teacher niya sa Fichte pero one day, um, sabi ni Schopenhauer, no, he commented that Fichte had said things na that awakened the desire in him to put a gun to his chest and say, "You have to die without compassion." Pakamatay na lang ako kaysa pakinggan ko tong si Fichte. Ganon siya kayabang. Tapos one day din, nagla-lunch siya with another teacher of his again. And I remember teacher I mean, may ganun dapat, may sense ka ng respect, di ba? So, nag-lunch sila, tapos itong teacher na to, no? So, lunch very familiar, very amicable setting. Nag-joke siya, joke lang naman. Nag-joke siya about sa philosophy ni Kant. Para kay Schopenhauer, Kant was the best of all philosophers. He is the philosopher. Medyo na-bad trip itong si Schopenhauer, no? Nung narinig niya yung joke. Ginawa niya, tayo siya bigla. Tinapon niya yung kanyang mga pagkain doon. Sinagawan niya yung teacher niya. Tawag dito, hindi mo naiintindihan yung filosofiya ni Kant, no? Wag mo akong kakausapin. Never, never talk to me again. Masyado akong matalino para sa iyo. Kago, 'di ba? Tapos just to cap off this very personal um sketch ng pagkatao, no? Para mag-gets niyo kasi may effect yung pagkatao ng yung character ng mga philosophers sa kanilang mga filosofiya. Even his own mother cannot stand him. His own mother. Kasi nung siya ay mag-graduate na ng university, no? So nagsulat siya sa nanay niya. Sabi niya, uuwi ako dyan. I will be living with you. Reply ng nanay niya, you are annoying and unbearable and I consider it extremely painful to live with you. Ganun siya ka-negative. Ganun siya ka na tao. Kaya nga ang talagang love of his life lang ni Schopenhauer ay yung kanyang aso. Pangalan Atma. Wala na siya. Actually, nung namatay siya, pinamana niya lahat ng ari-arian niya dun sa aso niya. Well, yung mga ganun mga tao ngayon, di ba? Prefer na magkaroon na lang ng pets kaysa magkaanak. Kasi nga, they see na itong mga anak na to pag lumaki naman, magre-rebelde rin to mga to. Parang may ganung sense
Yeah.
si Schopenhauer.
May asawa ba si Schopenhauer? Parang wala, no?
Wala. Parang alam ko ewan ko kung chismis lang. Alam ko, nag-confess to sa isang babae, tapos na-reject. And from then on, hindi na siya naniwala sa pag-ibig.
Yeah. So, alam nyo na kung sino yung mga Schopenhauer sa society natin ngayon. Well, yeah. Schopenhauer, if you're going to read the banquet, o yung symposium ni Plato, he will tell you sa ugali ni Schopenhauer, fuck Plato and his symposium, love is just plain stupidity. Yan, yun yung probably, it's very Arthurian logic, for Schopenhauer. Kasi if you're going to ask him, how do you define love? Sabi niya, niloloko lang kayo niyan. It's just manipulation. It's just deception. Kasi nga, yun nga he's a man of the mind, no? So, everything must be precise, must be uh, calculable, something that is measurable. So anything that goes against that principle, like love and its complexities and the uncertainties and the pain that you're going to undergo because of choosing to love a person. For Schopenhauer, that's hassle, 'no? Hassle, sakit ng ulo, at iiwan ka lang nasaktan at manipulated. So, forget about that banquet, walang bolang tao before, stupid, 'no, plainly stupid ang love, 'no? Yeah, that's Schopenhauer, not me.
I mean, natatawa tayo 'no, or well, at least kami ni Russell. Pero this is something na may mga tao na talagang they really
Yeah,
subscribe to this 'no. Love, well, kay Schopenhauer especially, love is just ano, biological, eh. It's a biological need. In a way, it's ano, biology manipulating you to reproduce, no, to perpetuate our species, no. So it's a biological need, it's not something metaphysical, no. Wala siyang ano, wala siyang pakialam sa sa poetry, sa soulmate, sa destiny. Para kay Schopenhauer ano lang yung mga yun, fake news, no. Love is nature tricking us to make babies, no. It is
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah,
will's
yeah, yeah.
trick to keep the species alive, no. So ang key thesis dito ni Schopenhauer is that romantic love is the illusion. Illusion lang siya. It is the illusion the species, human species, uses to manipulate individuals para ma-perpetuate nga yung ating ano, yung ating human ano, genome, yung ating human species. So, yung katumbas kung gaano ka-intense yung pag-ibig mo, yung nararamdaman mo na supposedly love, gano'n din ka-intense yung will, kasi nga si Schopenhauer is a philosopher of the will, no? So, gano'n din ka-intense yung will, no? Which means na the more in love you are, the stronger yung biological manipulation. Because the will wants the best possible offspring according to its, well, unconscious calculus, no? Kasi nga, again, well, in a way, nag-a-agree siya dun sa, ano, sa kay Plato, no, na you are being attracted sa something na nawala ka, no? At dahil attract yun sa something na wala ka, pero para kay Schopenhauer, yun ay para maging better yung ano, yung human species, no? Pero walang ano doon, walang metaphysical question doon, walang love doon, walang illusion lang yan. Niloloko ka lang, minamanipulate ka lang. This is an age-old biological illusion and manipulation so as to preserve the existence of humanity, yung love.
Kaya pala ano, we fall for people who counterbalance our flaws. It's it's a management of our will. Excursus ko lang din yung kung nanonood kayo ng Parks and Recreation, i-search nyo na lang kung hindi pa. Pero may figure dun, si Ron Swanson. Ano kasi siya, libertarian American yan siya, eh. Pero iba yung view niya sa love kasi very passionate lover daw siya. Pero meron siyang isang quote na kapag naalala ko, it's very Schopenhauer. Birthdays are invented by Hallmark to sell cards. May gano'n, yung parang if you look at life with that kind of, well, for some it's negativity, no? Pero if you ask Schopenhauer, no, sasabihin lang niya, "I'm just being real," no? And yun nga minsan, even in that very attitude that you have, minsan ang nakakasama natin sa buhay is someone who can balance our extremes, no, yung kayang mag-moderate ng ating mga kasobrahan. So, para malakas, 'no, o matalino, yung maganda yung anak mo, 'no, good girls like bad boys kumbaga. After magka-baby mawawala yung lust, and you will say, "Ba't nakita ko sa taong 'to, eh." The point is, love may be blind, but marriage is an eye-opener. In a way, no, may sense yung notion of love for Schopenhauer kasi hindi puwedeng idealistic lang tayo lagi. At some point medyo sosobra din kapag masyado kang ano, grounded lang sa realism, 'no. Pero the point here is kailangan mo siyang balansehin in the sense na Oo nga 'no, may gano'n palang aspect. Ako may boss ako na sabi niya dahil maitim ang lahi nila, kayumanggi sila, ang kaniyang preference lang basta mestizo lang, okey na siya.
Para
At
maging
yun
better yung
nakapangasawa
ano.
siya, oo, nakapangasawa siya ng ano, ng mestizo and ang ganda nga ng mga anak nila, ang ganda ng, ah, ano nila, life nila that's as how they would perceive it. Ayun applicable yun. And maraming mga tao na ganito mag-isip, may maraming Schopenhauer sa paligid.
Siguro ang cultural reference na mapi-pinpoint natin na medyo Schopenhaueresque kumbaga 'no. If you have watched yung movie na La La Land, well, I think most of you have watched it 'no. So, dun sa La La Land kasi 'no, we are forced to distinguish between fiction and reality 'no. Yung dalawang protagonist para walang masyadong spoilers 'no, yung dalawang protagonist 'no, they end up being victims of a beautiful dream na inevitably in the end 'no, reality imposed its terrible dictatorship. So when passion disappears, love becomes impossible. So para kay Schopenhauer, fantasy is beautiful. Yung fantasy, yung illusion na mayroong love. Pero reality always wins eh. So when you're heartbroken, ang sasabihin sa'yo ni Schopenhauer, napakabait niyang nilalang eh. Sasabihin niya lang sa'yo eh, you are not suffering for yourself. You are suffering for a hypothetical child who will never be born, no? Ganun yung ano niya, yung kanyang idea, no? Para sa kanya, yung view ni Schopenhauer dun sa tragedy in love is that love is anti-rational first and foremost kasi nga illusion siya. It is suffering, no? It is suffering. Kung titignan mo maigi napaka-ano nito kasi well, last time pinag-usapan ng Hinduism, 'di ba? Sa Hinduism, suffering is caused by desire, by attachment to things. In a way, i-aano mo si Schopenhauer, 'yan yung ano niya, desire 'yun eh, yung love. Attachment to people 'yun eh. Kaya do'n ang root ng suffering, 'no? Sa third, para kay Schopenhauer, love is coercion. Pinipilit ka, walang consent by biology. Kasi nga, illusion siya, manipulation siya ng biology. Love promises happiness but ends in disappointment. And sino ba tayo para mag-question na ang dami rin namang mga tao na ganito naman talaga yung kanilang naging experience, no, sa kanilang love life na, well, sa simula lang yung flame, then nagpakasal, nagkaroon ng mga anak, someone cheated o walang cheating for example, pero nawala yung flame. Oh, may gano'n, eh, may mga gano'n talaga experiences, eh. Para kay Schopenhauer yun. Kasi nga niloloko lang tayo, illusion lang yung love. Ano lang talaga yun, ang purpose nun ay para lang mag-reproduce, 'no? Kasi pagtapos mo ng reproduction, mawawala na yung flame. So, madi-disappoint ka na lang tapos yun nga, mapapatanong ka na lang, "Ano ba nakita ko dito, bakit ito yung ano, pinakasalan ko?"
Tanong niyo yan sa ano, tanong niyo kay, ano, sa mga kuwan niyo, ha. Pero well, ako mag-a-apologize ako kung hindi ako masyadong ano, hindi ako masyadong nakapag-aral ng Schopenhauer. Well, hindi ito na-discuss ni Father Gwen sa'min. Pero to give justice in a way sa genius ni Schopenhauer, ganito, kay Schopenhauer, yung ladder ni Plato, walang ladder, walang paglalim. Ang buhay ay simple lang dapat. Hindi naman to the point na transaction. Pero ang sinasabi ni Schopenhauer, wala yung ano illusion lang yun, yung ladder na, mag-e-elevate yung uri o yung manner ng pagmamahal mo, no. Ano, desire, purely desire. Gusto mo, so you pursued with the objective to possess, angkinin yung taong yun, and once you do, dahil nga na-conquer mo na siya, boredom, no. Ah, and dahil nagbabangga na ngayon yung values, no, yung moral obligations mo to the reality of being born, eventually you will find life merely as a suffering. Now, why am I telling this? I hope it kinda captured yung point ni Schopenhauer on love. Pero meron akong nabasa pare, and I think it's relevant here na you can never satiate as a man daw 'no. Man will always have that desire to conquer 'no. Kaya nga daw yung, ah, monogamy is very
Mhm.
counterintuitive sa human nature kasi man na hunter daw, then, nung naging civilized na lagi na siyang nagko-conquer ng cities and everything. There's always that desire to conquer kaya lagi siyang may penchant,
Hmm.
unending penchant for novelty. Ito rin yung sa tingin ko applicable, I can appropriate 'no, Schopenhauer here in the sense na that constant desire to conquer something and someone. Then kapag nakuha mo na, wala na, hindi na, wala ng challenge, kasi nakuha mo na, eh. May gano'n tayo even in our society na parang best foot forward ka sa panliligaw nung kayo na hindi mo na pinapahalagan ta's magche-cheat ka pa, then kung hindi man, you find it suffering na. And I'm telling this not because Schopenhauer is purely true about this, but rather it's a wake-up call, it's an eye-opener to re-examine, to live more deeply, to be more intentional in our manner of loving. Kasi it's not completely true. Ako, I totally disagree with Schopenhauer. The only thing is, hindi niya na made-defend kung kung tirahin natin ang philosophy niya. Pero that's the point 'no. Pero in some sense, Schopenhauer is exposing a truth that even our modern sensibilities can resonate to. Kasi nangyayari yun, especially among celebrities. Love team, tapos nagkaroon dun ng genuine na bond, ng genuine na connection, then magpapakasal dahil sa benefits nung, fame and ng economy 'no. Then months later may anak na, tapos may side chick na, meron pang isang inanakan, mga gano'n 'di ba? Then you'll find it, ano ba 'yan, 'di ba, parang gano'n. So that's Arthur Schopenhauer 'no, very interesting topic.
Well, siguro puwedeng sabihin ng iba, "Naku, parang ano naman 'tong tamang usapan puro theoretical, Plato, Schopenhauer wala ngang love life, eh, kaya ganyan ka-negative." Si Plato naman puro lang ideals. So punta tayo ngayon sa isang, 'pag pinag-usapan mo kasi pag-ibig sa philosophy, meron kang hindi dapat malimutan 'no, na kuwento. It's, the iconic philosophical love story. So ito talaga ano 'to, sinabuhay nila yung pag-ibig 'no, ni Peter Abelard at ni Heloise. Here, love is not just a metaphysical assent ala Plato, nor a biological compulsion katulad ng kay Schopenhauer 'no. Rather, it is a moral and spiritual conflict dun sa buhay nitong si Peter Abelard and si Eloise 'no. So ang setting natin, so balik tayo kung galing tayo ngayon sa modern era pagdating kay Schopenhauer, babalik tayo ngayon sa medieval age 'no. So 12th century Paris 'no. So Paris by that time was a university city. It was a center of learning. The University of Paris was very important. Andiyan aral sila Albert the Great, andiyan nag-aral nagturo sila Thomas Aquinas. It was a very important center of learning. Dito, ito yung time na wala pang social media, eh. Ito yung time na ang libangan ng mga tao, even the peasants, kasi laging mali yung sinasabi, yung mga peasants ng panahong Middle Ages, wala silang alam. Hindi, alam niyo ang libangan nila? Makinig sa mga debates ng mga philosophers, ng mga academics, no? So, one of these academics was a young man, well, a poor man din, pero one of the greatest logicians of his time, si Peter Abelard. He was a superstar professor kasi lahat ng debates na pinupuntahan niya nananalo siya. He even went on to be victorious against his own teachers. Kaya medyo kilala siya sa buong Paris at the time na, Peter Abelard, very a superstar philosopher kumbaga, no? And then the other protagonist of our story ay si Eloise, no? Itong si Heloise ay isang anak ng isang noble person 'no, so nobility siya. May ano, parang ano nga, parang teleserye. Itong si Heloise ay ano, anak ng mayaman 'no, aristocrat. And well, she was beautiful, very beautiful, young, and hindi lang dun, she was also a genius philosopher in her own right, no? She was eloquent, she was gifted, no? Pero by that time, practice to noon na yung mga bata-bata pang mga kababaihan, they send, yung mga aristocrats, I mean, they send their daughters sa monasteries, hindi para maging madre agad ha, rather para mag-aral, no? And to be protected then physically. Nandun sila sa loob ng monastery, no? So, nandun siya, pero yung kanyang fame ay kalat sa buong Paris, no? Lahat gusto siyang makilala. Even Peter Abelard himself.
Si Heloise kasi dahil nga siya ay noble, meron siyang tiyuhin 'no, si Fulbert. Inassign niya si Abelard na mag-tutor kay Heloise. Kaso lang ayun nga, not a good idea kasi kahit si Abelard, she even confessed na the most unbridled passion arose in those private classes. The books remained open, but love more than reading was our motto. So, basically, they fell in love with each other. I'm not ano lang, I'm not sure, but I believe Abelard was a priest.
Hindi ko sure. Ang sure ko pre ay as a
Alam
professor,
ko
ang panahon na yun dapat celibate ka. Yun ang sure ko. Hindi ko alam
hindi,
kung pari si Abelard.
pare si Abelard alam ko parish
Pero
teka,
just to contextualize din kasi nung ginawa siyang tutor nito, kasi remember si Abelard walang pera. Matalino, walang pera. Tapos ang offer sa kanya ni Fulbert dahil nga sikat siyang philosopher ay, "Uy, pwede mo bang i-tutor 'tong aking ano, pamangkin? Dito ka na tumira sa amin para ano, mas madali yung ano, yung private tutoring mo." Eh, wala. Dun tumira, eh, di may mga milagrong nangyari sa ano, private classes.
yeah, he was a monk.
Okay, okay.
Pare si Abelard alam ko, eh.
Pari pa pala. Mongke pa pala, 'di mas lalong ano, lalong forbidden in a way, 'no?
Yeah, forbidden love 'to kasi kaya siya naging ano, oo, controversial. Kasi parang forbidden love.
Yeah.
To give due credit kay Abelard, baka isipin niyo lang na ano siya, babaerong ano lang. No, no, it's not like that. Abelard was actually instrumental dun sa solution ng problem of universals. Issue 'yan, malaking issue ng medieval philosophy 'yan. Tapos during the time nga dahil scholasticism yung overarching philosophical method. Abelard was really great kasi nga yung lessons dati it's not in the form of kailangan may visuals, tas kailangan dynamic, kailangan may nararamdaman ka at kailangan may essay writing sa dulo, hindi. O kaya kailangan may movie viewing to boost moral, no. Lessons are either in the form of a lecture, kaya nga may professor, kaya may professorial chair. Kasi yung professor nakaupo lang yun magdadaldal or in a form of debate, 'no? Kaya nga yung questiones disputatam, sikat oo, sikat na sikat din si Abelard, 'no? The point nga lang dun, yun nga, yung, tawag diyan, yung development may dumating they fell in love. Ang isang fun fact kasi mukhang hindi na madi-discuss dito sa script natin. In Paris, I'm not sure kung sino unang namatay, pero sila ay magkatabing nilibing.
Mamaya aanuhin natin 'yan.
Si Peter
Magkatabi
Abelard
silang
tsaka si
nilibing.
Heloise. Pero sige, so nabuntis si Heloise, so tumakas sila ng Paris. The philosopher, hid in her own convent to save the son, and the lovers married in secret, so that Abelard could continue his academic career, 'no? Pero yun nga, parang kuwan ko 'to, hindi to sure ha, so just make your own studies. Ang point lang naman ay yun nga, considering our topic today, is love greater than than your vocation, than your profession, than your commitments, social commitments, or even your moral obligation sa society, no? Kasi they continue to have their secret love affair.
Pero ito yung yung twist, kasi genuine talaga yung love nila, hindi
Yeah,
namatay.
yeah.
Actually, ang ginawa nitong kasi sige pa rin sila sa kanilang rendezvous kahit na nandun sa monastery na 'tong si Heloise, eh. Ang ginawa nung uncle, ni Uncle Fulbert, sabi niya, "Hindi ko na kaya 'tong kahihiyan na nangyayari sa pamilya natin." So ginawa niya, napaka-dramatic, napaka-theatrical. Nag-send siya ng mga tao para i-castrate si Peter Abelard. So naka-straight siya, tapos ginawa niya, from that monastery na original, pinakidnap niya yung pamangkin niya, si Eloise, tapos pinalipat niya ng another monastery. Later on, she will become the abbess of that monastery. And later on, nung namatay si Peter Abelard, yun yung sinasabi ni Russell kanina, ang ginawa niya ay cliname niya yung cadaver ni Peter Abelard, tapos pinalibing niya dun sa monastery. Tapos ang kanyang will is that pag namatay siya, gusto niya na ilibing din siya sa tabi ni Peter Abelard. So genuine yung nila, yung kanilang love story. Hindi namatay yung love, eh. Nagsusulatan sila. Actually, 1,000 letters, no? Yan yung nasa documents natin na may access tayo, no? 1,000 letters filled with longing. But these letters, hindi lang siya romantic. These are actually philosophical dialogues disguised as confessions. Pag binasa mo 'to, hindi mo alam kung sila ba ay nagfo-flirt o sila ay nagle-lecture sa isa't isa ng pilosopiya, 'no? Kaya nga, ayun, until the end, kahit na kahit na pinaghiwalay sila ng tadhana, at the end nung namatay sila ay nilibing silang magkatabi.
Yeah, kaya classic 'yun, eh, classic na kuwento 'yun ng, medieval history.
Oo,
Pero yun nga,
pang
after all
pang
this drama,
teleserye ng
totoo, ayun nga, eh, pero there's the question, was that love with all that? And ano ba, Schopenhauer style lang ba yun? Wala, malikot yung kamay ni Abelard, or Plato style na parang, ah, from mere attraction, then nagkaroon ng passion, but eventually it has evolved into a joint, ah, a joint love for wisdom, eh, for learning. Kaya kasi nga yung correspondences nila, ah, also exhibited that passion for learning and education. And in this tension, no one explains love and their various forms better than one of the most famous siguro classical writers in our contemporary era, no? C.S. Lewis. Sige, this is our fourth philosopher. Makikilala ko lang C.S. Lewis dahil kay Lennon. So, yun ang very personal sa akin si C.S. Lewis because nung time na si Lennon ay nasa seminary na, nasa labas ako nun, eh, for a brief period of time. And mostly yung mga excerpts from Lewis, yan shine-share yan ni Lennon to us, no, to us his friends. One of my favorite, quotes ni Lewis is yung, "Friendship, like philosophy, like art, has no survival value, but it is these things that give value to survival." Wala siyang surviving value, hindi na niya ililigtas ang baha, eh. Hindi mo maililigtas yun sa giyera, pero siya ang magbibigay ng value sa survival mo. Nabubuhay ka, 'di ba? Powerful, 'no? So, yeah, we will discuss those things later. So, C.S. Lewis approaches love not as a single force, no, but as four distinct realities, each with its own beauty, with its own danger. So, we're going to break them down. So, well, basically, napaka-powerful ng discourse ni C.S. Lewis sa love. He discusses this, ang target niya kasi dito sa modern Englishman is to not to fall into despair, eh. Kasi nga yung sabi niya, eh, "If you are going to ask me if hell exists, yes. And who is in hell, no? Two kinds of persons lang." Sabi niya, those, uh, hell is a place wherein Hell is the place wherein you cannot be perturbed by love, 'no? I think it was C.S. Lewis who told that, eh, yung parang sabi niya, "There are two kinds of people in hell. One, who did not love at all, yung mga taong hindi daw nagmahal sa buong buhay nila. Or number two, kung nagmahal man sila, sarili lang nila minahal nila." No? So yeah, kaya medyo meron dong spirituality component. Pero sige, simulan mo.
Sige, pero before natin simulan 'no, so para lang dun sa mga hindi may alam o hindi nila alam, si C.S. Lewis ay yung author nung Narnia series 'no, kung napanood niyo yung movie o nabasa niyo na yung libro. Itong si C.S. Lewis, he started as a professor sa Oxford University, atheist. Naging friend niya si J.R.R. Tolkien, author ng The Lord of the Rings. Si J.R.R. Tolkien is a very devout Catholic. So tuwing naglalakad sila, nag-uusap silang dalawa, yan ang pinag-uusapan nila, existence ng Diyos, no? And then later on, na-convert si C.S. Lewis. Though hindi siya naging Katoliko, he became Anglican, no? Pero na-convert siya. So Narnia actually, pag binasa ninyo yung, kasi hindi lang naman yung 3 libro, 7 yan actually yung Narnia. It's actually the Bible retold para sa mga bata. Yung ano, si Narnia yung lion, si Aslan, si Kristo yun eh. So in that sense, no. So now, itong pinagbasehan natin itong kanya, kaya may spiritual side. Itong pinagbasehan natin ng kanyang idea sa love ay yung libro niyang The Four Loves, no. And these four loves, kung papansinin niyo ngayon, ay hindi niya original. Kasi kinuha niya 'to sa Greek, eh, yung mga Greek terms sa love. Kasi iba-iba yung mga terms ng Greeks na ginagamit sa ano, eh, sa love, eh. The first love is called in Greek storge. Storge, affection, no? This is the most natural love, no? It's family-like affection, no? Warm, familiar, comforting, no? So ito yung pinakauna. In a way, hindi naman na chronological na ito yung una mong mararamdaman. At home ka, oh, pero in a way ito yung naturally pinakauna mong mararamdaman na pag-ibig, no? Kasi nga at home. So mararamdaman mo 'to sa pamilya, mararamdaman mo 'to sa mga magulang mo o sa mga anak mo, no? Storge, no? However, C.S. Lewis warns na storge can also become possessive. It can also become suffocating, no? For example, mga parents na they say na, mahal ko yung aking mga anak, kaya ako ginagawa ito, kaya pinagbabawalan ko sila um, na lumabas after ng 8 PM, for example, na dapat ako ang masusunod kung anong iti-take nila sa college. Kasi I am just worried about their future. Mahal ko sila, no? And we hear those, pero excess 'yun para kay C.S. Lewis na suffocating 'yun. Kasi yung love na 'yun ay hindi na love for the good of the other, no? Yung to will the good of the other, sabi nga ni Thomas Aquinas. It's just to make those children obedient sa'yo, no? Hindi siya freedom, kumbaga. Blind obedience yung inaano. It is, storge is love as habit, no? As warmth. Pero, it is also a love easily corrupted by fear.
So the next form of love is philia, friendship. Paborito nga namin 'to ni Lennon pag-usapan. Basically, ako para sa akin pare, it shaped my character. These notions of love from C.S. Lewis, the way we shared this na sa mga late night talks natin before sa labas ng parish. Sa lahat halos ng mga lessons na natutuwa sa philosophy, ito yung mga naglinger sa akin. And if I remember it correctly, philia is the deepest form of human love, but also the least instinctive love, no? Sabi ni C.S. Lewis. Kasi hindi siya biological. Wala siyang evolutionary purpose. Friendship, kaya nga sabi 'di ba, friendship like philosophy, like art, wala siyang survival value. Pero siya ang magbibigay ng meaning o ng value sa survival. Why? Kasi it's you who choose your friends. Kaya siya sabi yung isang reflection sa John chapter 15, 13, 14, 15, friendship is the deepest form of love kasi pinili mo yung friends mo. Sabi dun sa John 15 verses 13 to 15, 'di ba? No greater love exists, 'no? Walang mas hihigit pa, walang dakilang pag-ibig sa pag-ibig ng isang taong mag-aalay ng buhay para sa kanyang kaibigan. And Jesus, 'no, Jesus Christ went on to say, "You are my friends." Hindi niya explicitly na sinabi dun, pero yun ang point niya. Walang greater love na mag-alay ng buhay sa kaibigan, and you are my friends. So, this is my greatest love for you guys. I'm offering my life to you. And I no longer call you servants, 'no, or you're no longer servants of mine, you're my friends. Kasi lahat pinakita ko na sa inyo lahat. So, in that, perspective, tama si C.S. Lewis in a sense, 'no, friendship is the kind of love that binds souls. Kasi hindi siya biological, hindi siya in the sense na you are attracted because you need this to survive or no. Something spiritual, no? It's the most spiritual form of love, no? The human level possible. That's philia.
And the third one, ito yung mas sikat when we talk about love. Even siguro nung inumpisahan ninyo itong episode na ito, nung pinindot ninyo yung play button, you are actually waiting for this kind of love. Yung eros, no? Yung erotic love, romantic love, no? Ito yung favorite, ito yung nasa movies, ito yung nasa mga kanta natin. So, it's an attraction to someone romantically, no? However, Lewis distinguishes between two things. Eros as an emotion and yung sexual desire. Hindi mo siya pwedeng i-reduce lang, no? Sexual desire is good. Hindi natin pwedeng itabu. Pero hindi mo pwedeng i-reduce doon yung eros na ito ay sexual. Kasi pag sinabi mo today na erotic, automatic na either pornographic, either sensual, mga ganung bagay, di ba? Which is not. Ang original na sense ng eros ay hindi yun eh. Eros is an attraction to someone, to give yourself to that someone. Ngayon, ito ang problema nga na na-discuss ni Russell kanina yung philia. We tend to think na mas mataas yung eros kaysa sa philia. Kaya in practice, anong ginagawa natin? When we are attracted to someone, na we confess to them, tapos naging tayo, halimbawa, and then kinakalimutan natin yung philia. No? Pero importante yung philia kahit sa romantic relationship, no? Yung philos. Kapag wala kayong friendship, wala kayong basis ng yun nga, yung greatest human love. Kasi nga, again, ang argument ni Luis is that storge, familiar love, affection, that's biological kasi nga lahat tayo sinilang tayo sa isang pamilya. Kahit yung mga walang magulang, they lived in a place na matatawag nilang home, no? Kahit na gaano pa ka-cruel yung mga tao doon, pero merong home. Ganon din ang ang eros, no? Eros is there again, like Schopenhauer says, it's there to propagate the species. So mayroong biological need for eros. Pero sa philia, there is no biological need for philia. Pwede kayong makasurvive ng walang friends. Strictly speaking, biologically, no? Pero magkakaroon ba ng kulay yung iyong buhay kung wala kang friends? Kahit na sabihin mong napaka-introverted mong tao, there will be one or two or three people na close sa'yo na you will confide to them. You will treat them as your friends, no? So kung hindi mo friend yung iyong girlfriend, yung iyong boyfriend, yung asawa, wala kayong basis. Pag nag-away kayo, kapag dumating yung isang malaking crisis, sira na, babagsak kaagad yun, no? So in Eros sees the beloved as the one. May dito may magandang sinabi dito si C.S. Lewis yung comparison niya sa Eros tsaka sa Philos o sa philia. Sabi niya, sa erotic love, both of you look at each other in each other's eyes. Pero yung friends, yung philia, both of you look at the same way. Parehong horizon yung tinitingnan ninyo. Para sa Eros, you are concerned to have the same answers. Para sa philia, sa friendship, You are not concerned to have the same answers. Rather, you are concerned for the same questions. No? Ganon yung pinagkaiba ng merely erotic love sa isang tunay na friends na basis ng isang romantic relationship, no? When you care only to have the same answers, pag magkaiba kayo, mag-aaway kayo, di ba? Pero if there is friendship as a basis, hindi. Kasi we also care for the same questions. Yun yung mas importante. However, ito yung warning ni C.S. Lewis, no? Eros is still not perfect kasi nga, it can become a false god. It can lead to idolatry, no? Why? We have the tendency na because we devote our time, ourselves to this same person, no? To the one, sa parang sinasamba na natin siya. Di ba ganun yung may mga ganun mga kantang Tagalog, no? Sinasamba kita. No? Ganun, we worship yung loyalty natin, yung ating sacrifice beyond reason ay para lang din sa specific na tao na minamahal natin. We forget na, teka, at the end of the day, creature pa rin to. No? Hindi siya dapat yung yung end all and be all ng aking existence eh. So yun yung extreme naman na wina-warn ni C.S. Lewis. Kasi kapag ang romantic love naging idol, naging idolatry niya eh. It becomes demonic. It becomes destructive.
It's important na a relationship should be founded on friendship. Kasi it's a journey eh. Totoo. Hindi lahat magsisimula at matatapos sa sexual na relationship or nature. Now we go to in a sense, the deepest form of love, no? Or the the divine love, agape.
So hindi na to human kasi nga philia yung greatest human love eh. To beyond human na to.
So agape is God's love, no? An unconditional, purifying, self-giving, life-giving love. That's why yun nga yung sinasabi natin doon, to love is to share in the life of the divine. This is agape. Lewis sees this as the only form of love that can heal the distortions of the three. Ibig sabihin lang doon, yung mga deficiencies ng eros, yun nga, kapag naging hypersexual na lang, o yung naging focus ay dun sa sexual component o dun sa unity lang, sa union lang, no? And it becomes problematic kasi we begin to trivialize, to forget the other important things in life. Katulad din ng philia, it's the deepest human level of love, pero hindi siya perfect love, no? It is being perfected by agape. Kasi to love your friend, to choose your friend is just one thing, pero you give your life for that friend. And to even entrust your life and the life of your family to a friend, that's the perfection of philia, di ba? So yun, it transforms affection without smothering. You give, life-giving nga eh. Literal din to in the sense, no? Hindi ka nakakasakal, no, sa relasyon. No? You give room for freedom, you give room for growth, for joy, for personal development dun sa mga minamahal mo. And it elevates friendship into mutual holiness. Yung sinasabi ni Leron kanina, napaka-powerful na yan. Kung ang philia, hindi kayo magkatapat but rather nakatutok kayo sa isang direksyon. Ang purpose ng agape is to make sure that the direction kung saan kayo nakatutok aligned, no, sa Diyos. And lastly, yun nga, purifies eros from mere obsession towards the most or the more unpopular belief during these times, commitment and fidelity. Without agape, this is very possible for eros to grow. Kasi nga, wala eh, meron ng ganong choice eh, na we're not working, so sige taon tayo na iba kasi sayang oras, YOLO. Puwede ba tayong mag-open relationship? So, we can engage with others sexually without being forced or pressured sa commitment natin. It's a total bullshit and hindi ka lang magkakasakit ng sexually transmitted disease, magkakasakit ka rin talaga emotionally, mentally, spiritually kasi it's a corruption of values. I'm not saying this in a preachy, dogmatic pero yung practicality nun kasi nga if you're going to abandon fidelity, loyalty to somebody just for an open commitment na agreement, parang it's a very unnatural, no? Again, yun nga, it will hurt you more than it could give you pleasure. So without agape, no, without consideration of agape, all loves, ang ganda nito, all loves collapse into self-love. And we know, again, time and again, there's no such thing as self-love. Kasi nga, the idea is as humans, we are oriented towards ourselves already. That's why the moment we decide to love is the moment we decide to turn from ourselves towards the other. Kasi nga love is to will the good of the other. Kasi nga all our lives until we love, all our lives, all we know is how to wish or to will the good of us. No, to make sure na hindi tayo magugutom, na hindi tayo maaaksidente, na hindi tayo maubusan ng pera, na hindi tayo mapag-iiwanan sa mga bagay-bagay. Pero the moment we chose to love somebody else, okay, it's the moment we love. Kasi we think of them first before us. Yeah, yung I think it's in Poland. Wala yung mga kabulshitan sa kasal doon na may unity candle o may mga symbolic bullshits. Ay, sorry Catholic pa rin naman ako pero doon ang binibigay ng pare ay crucifix sa bagong kasal. To remind them na Christ or the marriage is a symbol of the love of Christ. Replicating the love of God, no? Yun yung marriage, no? I'm not saying na yung unity candle ano yun, walang kuwenta pero ano kasi lang yun, inventions lang yun, para pukawin yung emotive aspect natin pero wala siyang meaning, wala siyang deeper meaning. Pero to give you a crucifix na to remind you no, na you are to be crucified with Christ. It's not always and should not always be feel good kind of love, but rather you should feel redemptive nature of love in marriage, where you both desire each other to be saved and come to the fullness of truth. Yan sinasabi sa Bible. So, di ba, lalim, no? Ang ganda. No? So, Lewis, therefore, provides us a synthesis. Love is not a one thing. It is an ecosystem. Pag may ginalaw ka dito, somebody else will suffer. Ganun siya. System ang love. System ang love. Hindi lang siya feeling. It's a system. So dahil nga ecosystem siya, it has to be approached with commitment. Kasi if blindly, patanga-tanga lang yung galawan natin, somebody else will suffer. And most of the time, it's us. No, the I, the subject, the ego. So unless divine love orders, kaya ito ordo amoris, if you remember, hanggang hindi agape ang nagro-rule sa lahat ng love. Kasi sabi dito, hindi siya parang tama ba ako? Correct me if I'm wrong nun. Hindi siya parang kwarto na, okay, eros lang ako. So, nasa eros lang. No, pwede mo siyang maramdaman simultaneously na while you, ayun nga, eros, for example, while you have a wife, a husband, a girlfriend, a boyfriend, you can also feel there yung philia. And philia should be present there. And even agape should be present there. Kasi that is the desire to be self-giving. Kasi storge, kasi to be natural, no? To make your loved one feel at home with you. 'Di ba? A familiar love. So, ano siya hindi siya okay, eros lang 'to. Hindi siya separated sa isa't isa. Kaya nga dapat agape should order. Kasi at times it might be eros. If ang friendship natin ay motivated ng eros, no, it might be superficial lang, no? Or kung ang ang parenthood o yung familiar love natin ay motivated lang ng eros, no? Kasi nga yung storge tsaka yung philia hindi sila basta-basta maggo-go kasi nga instinctive yung storge, eh, choice yung philia. So, the point there, para ma-harmonize lang lahat ng loves na meron sa puso natin, it should be ruled by the love of God, agape. Unless it is ordered by agape, all our loves will remain broken, and even dangerous, and much incomplete. Kaya kahit sabihin mo, naka-10 girlfriend na ako, naka-3 asawa na ako, wala pa rin. Kaya yun, sa tingin ko ay well, kung kaya niyong pakinggan 'to sa mga pro-divorce naming mga kaibigan, it's not to compel you na parang, makinig kayo dun simbahan ka. Try to look at it this way 'no, na consider niyo lang 'no, hindi ito parang binu-bully or parang nagpa-power tripping ng simbahan to bear witness into an ancient truth na ever relevant, na hindi siya naluluma, na ang pagmamahal ay hindi lang basta-basta, hindi siya dapat maging transactional. And to legalize divorce will open so many cans of worms. At hindi puwedeng ang mindset natin sa policy na, "So what? Okey lang magkamali, we will suffer it together." Eh, kung puwede natin i-prevent yun, Diyos ko naman, 'di ba? So 'yan. That is C.S. Lewis. There's so much to discuss on C.S. Lewis, probably in another episode baka si C.S. Lewis lang yung i-feature namin. Pero that's practically one of the philosophers that really shaped our philosophy, our, academic life din 'no, and even our way of thinking.
Grabe ang ganda nitong episode natin na 'to 'no. Hopefully nagustuhan niyo kahit mahaba-haba 'to. Well, gusto niyo 'tong topic na 'to kasi yung mga top episodes natin laging tungkol dito sa love, eh. Pero at the end of this, ang tanong pa rin natin, so ano nga ba ang love? Ito ba ay yung sa soulmate? Ito ba ay yung desire for goodness o pure lust lang, sabi nga ni Schopenhauer 'no? Baka ito ay myth lang, a biological trick o baka katulad ni Plato, it's a spiritual ascent or is love a tragic passion?
Or maybe love is all of them, 'di ba? Or maybe love is none of them. Or maybe love is something that we only understand habang nandun tayo sa experience.
But here's one thing na ano, na tinuturo sa atin ng pilosopiya na pinaka-sensitive ng ating episode today 'no. Love is complicated, pero it's worth thinking about 'no. Hindi porke komplikado siya, hindi na natin pag-uusapan. For Plato, love is an ascent toward the eternal beauty, the one, the true, the beautiful. For Schopenhauer, love is nature's illusion, no? A manipulation of biology. Abelard and Eloise, no? Sa kanilang tragic love affair, love is ano collision no? Between ideal longing and human limitation. For C.S. Lewis, on the other hand, love is multiform, no? It's layered, and love can only be sustained and healed by divine charity. Pag mag-isa siya, pag wala siyang Diyos, it can lead to disaster, it can lead to danger, no? And we have evidence of that sa history, sa literature, no? Romeo and Juliet, for example, no? O Macbeth, no? So, there is that sense na pag wala yung divine charity, all other loves will perish.
And what can we learn from our episode today? Hindi natin puwedeng i-reduce ang pagmamahal sa isang theory. Na, Plato lang. No, even us, the very examples of our lives can form another new philosophy of love. It is metaphysical, biological, moral, existential. It elevates and destroys, creates and degenerates. It clarifies, it confuses, it saves, it wounds, it makes, it breaks. But love can pull you upward or trap you in your own illusions. But C.S. Lewis would give us a final word. Love, love becomes whole only when it is surrendered, not idolized. To surrender it. Obisyo na.
Ano naman para sa atin 'no? So, paano naman tayo? Well, we live somewhere in between 'no? We are caught between assent and compulsion, between duty and desire, between hope and despair.
But to love is still worth it. Because even if love hurts us, gives us wounds, it makes all sufferings and even the entirety of life meaningful. So the next time na your baby loves will look at you in your eyes and will ask you, "Do you love me?" At least may baon ka ng Plato, Schopenhauer, isang castrated na philosopher, no? O yung author ng Narnia.
Anyways, kung nandito pa rin po kayo, this has been a great journey dito sa ating philosophical month, no? We now close philosophical month with this great episode on the greatest topic of all, that is love. So muli po, maraming salamat sa pagsama sa amin. And again, alam niyo na, kabisado niyo na to, please subscribe, like, follow us sa social media. Kung meron kayong gusto ninyo na pag-usapan namin, email us sa tamangusapanpodcast@gmail.com o mag-comment kayo dyan sa Spotify, mag-comment kayo sa website sa tamangusapanpod.com, no? So, you know how to reach us. We are now on episode 97, I think, itong ating episode today. So we are nearing our 100th episodes, no? So tingnan natin kung anong gagawin natin dyan. Again, maraming salamat po. Kaya ito po muli si Lennon.
At ako po si Russell.
At ito ang Tamang Usapan.
Usapang may tapat. Kita-kits sa next episode.
Bye-bye!